Hi, today I'm going to be taking you through a nice mixed session. We're going to be incorporating lots of core and glutes and loads of mobility, so you should be walking out of this session feeling a little bit longer and stretched out, and also like you've worked really hard. If you have a magic circle, we're going to use one of those. If you don't worry, I can give you an alternative version of what to do. And also if you've got a soft ball, go and grab that, otherwise grab a thick cushion if not. So we're going to start off into a nice seated position. So I'll take you round to cross-legged position if you can hold this with a nice straight spine. If not, pop a block underneath you or take your legs out in front into diamond shape, whichever works for you. So getting into your seated position, I'm going to get you just to rock forwards and backwards over the front and the back of your tailbone. I want you to think of your pelvic diamond. You've got your pubic bone, your coccyx and your two sitting bones, and you're just rocking forwards between the pubic bone and the coccyx, and then find that midway point where you're centered over your diamond. I want you to then think of lifting the breastbone up as high as you can, keeping the breastbone lifted and the collarbones nice and wide. Just do a couple of head nods and find that nice mid position where your chin's level with the ground, and then just gently draw the ab muscles in just a little bit so you feel the length into your lower back, so your lower back is nice and relaxed in this tall position. And then all I'm going to get you to do is just rest your hands onto your knees with your palms facing up, let them go nice and relaxed, and we're going to focus on your breathing. So if you wish, you can close your eyes for this. You're going to take a nice deep breath in, wide into the ribs, and then as you breathe out, just think of drawing the rib cage together in the middle. Imagine that you've got a little belt wrapped around your ribs. You try and open another notch on the belt as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, tie another notch onto the belt and get the ribs to narrow. And while the ribs are narrowing, I want you to be thinking of lengthening even taller, like you're grounding yourself through your sitting bones, but lifting through the crown of your head, getting that nice stretch through your spine. Take one more breath in and out for me. As you do this, relax the shoulder blades, let them glide away from the ears, nice and gentle. And then keeping this lovely long posture, we're going to go into a spine twist first. So hands come into prayer position, fingertips up towards your nose, and then your palms are pulled in towards your breastbone. Take a nice deep breath in again, and on your breath out, you're going to rotate around and twist. Inhale, bring it back through the center, and then exhale, twist to the opposite side. And I want you to take this at your own pace as you're doing this one. So in your own time, at the pace of your breath, you're breathing out as you twist. Inhale, bring it back to center, and then exhale and twist. And now I want you to think about where your weight is over your sitting bones. So check as you're rotating from left to right, that you're not pushing into one sitting bone more than the other, and you're not using your legs to stabilize you. So your legs are relaxed, thighs are nice and heavy, and then we're also level between front and back of the pelvis. So our weight is in the middle between pubic bone and coccyx, and I'm not leaning back or leaning forwards as I twist. We'll go for one more here each way. Breathing out again as we twist. Lengthen through the spine, drop the shoulders down. Inhale back to center. Exhale, last one here, rotating around, keeping those shoulders relaxed. It's all coming through the torso. Then relaxing down, relax the shoulders. We're then just going to turn the palms facing up towards the ceiling. Reach one hand up, reach it long and upwards. Then slide over into a mermaid stretch to the side. Then bringing it back through and changing over to the other side. So palms face up. As we're in that down position, we reach away. You can slide your bottom arm away, drop into the stretch, and then come back through to center. Now with this exercise, I want you to now check that you're keeping your weight centered between left and right sitting bone. So you're not leaning to one side. You've grounded your hips down. We reach up as high as we can. Then we fold over to the side, getting that nice big side stretch. And from your top arm, from your fingertips, right through to the sitting bone, I want to have that length really open and stretch through the ribs. We're quite light into the bottom arm, hence the palm can stay facing up through this hand, so we're not leaning into it too much. We'll go for one more here. Over to the side. Let's even it out. So one more to the other side. And then coming back through to the middle. Now take your legs out into diamond shape. So palms of the feet are together. Knees are just relaxed, nice and heavy to the side. And we're going to do your spine curl forwards. So this, you nod the chin into your chest and you slowly start to curl forwards like you do in a standing roll down. And then you slowly restack back up. I'll show you from the side as well with this one. So, nice and relaxed through the legs. Nod the chin in, stretch the back of the neck. Continue to reach forwards through the fingertips. Hollow the abdominals backwards like you're pressing your lower back into an imaginary wall. And then re-stack back up against this imaginary wall, nice and tall. And again, bring the chin to the chest, curling forwards, rounding through our back as much as we can, open through the spine, and then slowly re-stacking all the way. And again, curling through, nice big reach. Last one here, reach forwards and slowly reach out straight. You're going to flex your toes up, have your legs hip distance apart, sit nice and tall again. We go back to the spine curl forwards, but we add our roll down into it now. So we're curling forwards into spine stretch. Keep this curl in the spine. Now squeeze your bottom muscles, tuck the tailbone underneath you, roll the tailbone back. You're going to roll back over the pelvis all the way towards your lower back. Keep the feet flexed and legs straight. Then curling forwards and then reaching forwards over the feet again into spine stretch forwards. So we reach forwards, lengthen through the spine, then tuck the tailbone under, hollow through the abdominals. Keep this curl in your spine. Shoulder blades press down as we go past that halfway point. Roll it back towards our lower back and then roll through. You don't have to go all the way down. You don't have to touch your spine onto the mat yet. We're just warming up through the abs. So reaching to the front, keeping the curl. Roll it back as if you're going towards your lower back. Keep the legs straight, keep the heels planted into the floor, and then reach it forwards. Last one here. We're going to roll it back, tuck the tailbone under, keeping that curve. Come back through to center, and then lift and lengthen all the way through. Now, I'm going to get you just to make sure that you've got your knees bent, ankles, knees and hips in alignment as they're on tram tracks, and you've got enough room behind you with your head cushion or towel behind you to lean onto. From here we'll roll down all the way. So tuck in tailbone, one vertebrae at a time. You want to hold on to the legs, you can do. Lower all the way down. And then when you're ready, lie onto your back going into your rest position. So you've got, again, ankles, knees and hips in alignment. A couple of pelvic tilts. Check your pelvis is neutral. And then make sure the waist is equal on both sides here. From there, rest your palms facing upwards. Shoulders nice and heavy into the mat, neck nice and long. We'll go into spine curl. You'll tuck your tailbone underneath you, roll the pelvis up, one vertebra at a time, lifting, squeezing through the glutes. Once you get to the top, you're rested heavy into your shoulder blades. You'll round through the rib cage, lower back down from the middle back, and one vertebra at a time, roll back down towards the mat. Once the pelvis comes back down, then you relax into your neutral, and we reset and go again. So shoulders nice and heavy. Tuck the tailbone under, squeeze the bottom muscles, tuck using the glutes. So we're pushing down into the heels, getting that connection into our bottom muscles as we do this. Roll the pelvis up, still trying to pull pubic bone up to navel and keeping the ribs drop down heavy so we don't flare the ribs up too high. Then tuck from the ribs, roll back down, keep rounding the spine so you get your lower back to go down before your pelvis, and then lower all the way. If you find that you're somebody that cramps into your hamstrings as you do bridges or spine curls, just check that you feel like you're using your bottom muscles more than your hamstrings. You push down into those heels and feel like you're lengthening through the thighs, reaching over the knees as you go up into the spine curl. If you still find that you're cramping, the next thing is to raise your feet up onto a block. So if you have a step or a block that you can put underneath your feet, you will just find having the feet raised, it'll give you more range. You'll go a little bit higher with the hips, but also it should take the cramp out. The next alternative is to imagine it pushing out with the knees. They don't need to physically go out, But imagine you've got a belt wrapped around the knees, you're pushing the knees out, you'll squeeze a little bit more through the external rotators of the hips, and that will assist you in getting more glute activation. So you should find again it comes out of the hamstrings. So we'll slowly lower back down on this one. We're rolling all the way back. And then from here now you're going to grab your magic circle if you have one. If you don't, you'll have your cushion. So nice thick cushion. We're going to pop this between our ankles. We'll go back down into it. Now I want to get a little bit of a squeeze so you feel your inner thighs. You're going to keep that squeeze. Then when you're ready, we're going to roll up. So we're going to tuck the tailbone through, roll back up, squeeze as if you're squeezing your heels together, and then slowly roll back down. You will have, if you've got the circle, you'll have a little bit of turn out into the knees. If you've got your cushion, you may be able to be narrow enough that you're in alignment with the hips. So tucking tailbone under, feel like you're squeezing those heels together. I want the inner thigh engagement as you do this. And then slowly roll all the way back down in your own time. We'll go for one more here. So squeezing inner thighs together. Roll back through. And then lowering back. So keeping the squeeze now. We're going to go straight back up again, and we're going to add in some little pulses. So we're going to roll up to the top of our spine curl. Relax through neck and shoulders, arms are heavy. We're squeezing the heels together, and then from there tiny little tilts with the pelvis. So we're just going to tuck and squeeze with the bottom muscles. Imagine that as you're doing the tilt and the little pulse, it's that you're pushing your pubic bone up to towards the ceiling. Squeeze the sitting bones together as much as you can. So tiny, tiny pulses at the top. And then when you're ready, slowly lower all the way back down. And relax when you get to the bottom. And then you can take your circle out of the way. Then from here, I'm going to pop the ball between my knees now. So again, if you've not got the ball, grab a cushion. We're now going to roll back up into the bridge, bring the heels a little bit. We push straight up to the top with a straight back. So it's not a curl, it's just a bridge. We're going straight up. Squeeze the inner thighs together with the ball. Now from there, we're going to extend through one leg. Then we lower the leg back down, change to the other side. So squeeze the ball together and then change legs. As you're doing this, if you want the extra challenge, take your arms away. So rest the hands onto hips, elbows lifted. Change from left to right leg. Feel your abdominals drawing in, your obliques will be working to keep you level. Check that you feel it into your bottom muscles equal from left to right side. You're still squeezing the inner thighs here as we do the extensions. You shouldn't be feeling your lower back taking any pressure. So it should be abdominals, inner thighs, and bottom muscles here. Make sure you keep the hips level. Reset each time that you change legs. So as you bring the leg back in, push the hips back up again. Keep that nice reset. I'm going to keep it going. Stay with me. Again, if you're feeling your hamstrings, feel like you're pushing out into a belt, dig down into the heels or raise your feet up onto a step. You've got a few options there if you're hamstring dominant with this one. We are going to go for one more. Release, and then spine curl your way back down. Well done. Okay, taking the ball out of the way. I'm going to add in some abs now. So ankles, knees and hips into your rest position. Neutral pelvic alignment. You've got that nice little curve in your lower back. Interlock your hands, cup the back of your head. You take the elbows up to your periphery a little bit and shoulders away from your ears. Take a nice deep breath in, widen to the ribs, expand them into the mat. As you breathe out, we're going to curl up. Imagine you're blowing a candle out. And an inhale to lower. So we keep this going at the pace of your breath. So on the out breath, we curl upwards. On the inhale, we lower and feel like you're expanding your ribs into the mat every time you lower. Then just take a little peek at your knees as you lift. Check they stay nice and still. They shouldn't be juddering forwards and backwards. If they are, you're shifting on your pelvis. So think bottom nice and heavy, lower back really relaxed. Take the tension away. Feel like it's just coming from the abdominals. Now, these are what I call your imaginary springs. So think from your rib to your hip, you've got this imaginary spring and you tighten the spring as if you're tucking your ribs to your knickers. The spring is attached to your hips, which stay nice and still. So the movement comes from the ribs. The next thing to be thinking about is making sure that while you've got pelvic stability and you're isolating it to the core, that you're not using your neck to lift your head. So you've dropped the head back into hands. Imagine you're holding a little peach, you've tucked the chin slightly. You maintain that tuck of the chin and keep the neck feeling really soft with this movement. We'll go for one more here. And then from here we're going to add it into level 2. So now level 2 we add a pelvic tilt in. So we curl up like level 1, hold it, tilt the pelvis using just your abdominal muscles and not your bottom. So flatten your back, pull the pubic bone up to the navel. Now we'll reverse this. So reverse the pelvic tilt back to a neutral and then lower from the ribs. So it goes ribs first, drop the ribs down, then tilt the pelvis. Use your abdominals, not your glutes. Then reverse the pelvis. Then reverse the ribs, and we'll keep that going. So it's quite a nice isolated movement, this one. And I want you, as you're doing your pelvic tilt, to really feel your lower abdominal muscles really having to work. Isolate it to the lower abs. So that belt line area should be really tightening as we do our pelvic tilt. We'll go for 4 more, just like this. We've still kept the knees nice and still. And the neck is still nice and relaxed. There's quite a lot to think about when we're doing our level 2 of an abdo prep. The other thing to make sure is that as we reverse the movement, we isolate it. So it's just the hips and the ribs stay still. Then we lower the ribs. It's really when we reverse the movement that it's actually quite hard to control it. So it takes a little bit more consciousness on the movement and where it's coming from. Last one here, and lower back in, and then relax. Okay, I'm going to use my ball for the next one. If you don't, you can try it with a cushion. It's a little bit nicer for your lower back to have the cushion in, but it doesn't give you the same stability challenge that you'll get from being on the ball. But that doesn't matter. A couple of pelvic tilts, reset back to neutral, check your low back's nice and relaxed. My hands are going to rest onto my hips and my elbows are going to be up, so I'm not using my arms for support. Your other option here is to have arms long and fingertips down and eventually float the fingertips off. That is another option if you find that this manages to tighten your shoulder muscles. If you feel like when you're holding this it gets a bit too hard on the shoulders, you can change to long arms. So we'll connect our core, we'll use those abdo prep muscles. Nice breath in. As you breathe out, drop the ribs down and feel the pelvic floor and the lower abs engaging. Back is nice and soft. I'm going to float one leg up to single tabletop position. Then slowly lower the leg down, feeling my springs doing the work, keeping the pelvis nice and still over the ball or the cushion. Float up to the other side and we'll alternate. Your ideal here is to inhale as we lift, because as we lower, this is where I want the exhale and the connection from your ribs to your hips, your imaginary springs. Keep the belly button drawn in the whole time. And really feel like you've got that, like a big waist belt wrapping around and you're tying another notch onto it. Float up to single tabletop. We hold that still. Float the second leg up to join us into double tabletop. Make sure the knees are over the hips, they're not lowered down a little bit and they're not too high. Our lower back is nice and relaxed. And then into toe taps, breathing out as we lower. Inhale. Thighs feel nice and heavy and relaxed, so you're not tensing into your thighs. As you lower down, it's coming from the core. You want to feel your abdominals tightening the lower it gets. Breathing out to lower. Inhale, float back up, and then exhale, lower. Zip up at the top here, bring the legs together, glue the knees and ankles together, and then double toe taps, breathing out to lower. Inhale to lift. You don't need to lower all the way when you're doing a double toe tap. I'm going to rest my hands onto my ribs and feel how far I can go without letting my belly button lift or my ribs flare up. So the ribs stay tucked down towards my knickers or underpants if you're a man watching. And then back through to tabletop. So just go where you can control here. Move the double tabletop. Make sure the lower back is relaxed and soft. So as you lift back up, feel that hollowing through the abdominals, belly button drawing into the spine, that nice length into the lower back, and then maintain that as you lower, so you feel a connection of pulling pubic bone up towards your belly button here. We will go for 2 more. Don't forget those inner thighs. Zip the legs together. Feel the feet squeezing together. We've got 1 more after this one. Last one. And then back through. And then lower. 1 leg down at a time here now. Well done. Okay, I'm going to get you to roll to your side next. So from here, I'm going to rest the ball just underneath my waist. It's going to be there just as a little guidance. If I drop my waist into the mat, I will know about it. So same with your cushion or your ball at home. It's just there folded, so if you press into it, you know. Your elbow is going to be right underneath your shoulder. I'm resting my top hand onto my hip because I just feel I can feel if it's moving forwards and backwards here. Hips are stacked on top of each other, knees are stacked, a little bit bent forwards. From there we go to clam level 1, so we'll turn out with the top knee. So I'm lifting through my waist. Make sure I'm really lifting through that bottom shoulder, lifting the waist up so we're not collapsing into the shoulder as we do this. Pelvis stays stacked and I'm feeling my lower abs engaged, like I'm pulling pubic bone up to belly button. So a little bit, I'm in a flat back and imprinted spine as I do this one. So keep the tuck, maintain the tuck as you do the turnout. Squeezing the heels together as you get to the top. Push out as far as you can. This is our clam at level 1. We're then going to take it into level 2, followed by level 3. So level 2 is the exact same, but we'll lift both heels up. Now continue from there. So turning out, making sure our heels stay lifted as if they're on the lower step. So we've lifted them up onto a step. And now we maintain the long waist, so you're not dropping into your ball or your cushion. You're lifting through the upper body. You're keeping the length and the posture nice and smooth. Making sure the pelvis doesn't rock back as you lift. Try and get as much lift as you can through the top knee, keeping the heels squeezed together. You should feel both your top bottom working, and a little bit as you push down into the bottom knee, you should feel the bottom working a little bit too here. And then we're going to take it up into level 3 shortly. So level 2 here, we've kept both of your feet lifted onto an imaginary step. I'm now going to ask you to take your top leg up to the second step. So we lift up to hip height, bring the foot up to the next step up, and then we're going for a turn out. As we go higher here, check we've not shortened our waist, so we're still lifting through the lower waist. It will isolate how much movement you've got from the hip here, because now we're abducted and then we're adding in the external rotation. So both ankles stay lifted. You will feel the burn and it should feel like it's harder to get as much movement. Should feel smaller movements now as we go through this level 3 clam. Let's just go for 2 more here. And then when you're ready, relax back down and we'll change to the other side. So, resetting yourself. From here, you've got your elbow right underneath the shoulder. The ball is going to go underneath your waist for a little bit of a reminder. Long neck, shoulders are down, chest is lifted. Heels are together, knees are bent forwards, hips are stacked. We're turning out through the top knee, keeping the pelvis nice and still as we do this. So making sure my pelvis doesn't roll backwards. Make sure you've got that pull through the lower abs, so pubic bone up to belly button. You should feel the lower abs engaging as if you're just lengthening your lower back. So feel like you've tucked the tailbone between your legs while you do this. So we'll also add in a little bit of glute max, so we'll get more glute work. And then as you turn the knee out, you squeeze the heels together and imagine that you're trying to squeeze your sitting bones together also here. We're going to keep this going. And then we're going to take it up to level 2. So both of your heels lift, and then we continue. We've still lifted through the lower waist. We've still pushed up with our chest. We've got a nice long line through our top body. We're not hunching into the shoulders. I want to feel like you're being stretched through the crown of your head towards the wall away from you. You've still got the length through the upper body, and the collarbones are wide, so we're stacked with the shoulders. Hips stay stacked, we're still tucking under with the tailbone. There's not too much to think about, right? And then keeping the heels lifted, squeeze the heels together. As you push up with the top knee, you'll feel you push down a little bit into the bottom knee, and you'll feel both bottom muscles engaging here. It will feel slightly different into each side, but nonetheless, they'll both be working. Now, 2 more here at level 2, and then we're going to take it up to our level 3 exercise. So here, heels stay lifted, then take the top leg up to the next step, and then continue from there. Still feel like you're lifting from your lower waist. You've not sunk down. You've got the length through this top waist here also. Foot stays still on the imaginary step. Ooh, it's burning now. Enjoy the burn. This is always a nice one. I don't know why, but I always really like the feeling of this one. Keep the foot on the top step, turning out. We're going to go for 4 more. See how much range you can get for this last 2. And 1 more, and then rest and relax. Really well done. Okay, we're gonna go back into some more core work next. So, lying down onto your back, and then we're gonna go for a double leg stretch series. So I'm gonna add in a curl up to begin with, as this really helps us get a nice back position. So interlock your fingers, bring your hands behind your head, elbows up to your periphery, shoulders down away from your ears. You're going to flatten the back, so tuck the tailbone underneath you, then bring the legs up and zip them together. On a nice breath in, we'll prepare to breathe out and curl up, stretch both legs away to double leg stretch. Inhale, fold them back in to your double tabletop, and then exhale, curl back up again. Inhale, bring them back in. What I'm looking for is that you really drop the belly button down, tuck the ribs in as you curl up. So I want a flat back here. Inhale, fold it back in. As you exhale, imagine you're pushing something away. So you zip the legs together, inner thighs are engaged, and you feel the back of the legs have got some energy. So you're squeezing your bottom, you're squeezing your hamstrings as you push your legs away. You want to go as far and as low as you can, keeping this flat back position. So if you can take your legs lower, feel free to. We'll go for 2 more. And then last one. And then bring it in and relax. Bring the knees into your chest. Give them a little hug and rest. Okay, we're going to go for 1 more set. This time I'm going to use my magic circle. If not, you'll grab your cushion or your ball, whichever you've got. Now from there, legs go into your start position. Hands behind the head again. We're going to squeeze away with the ring. They're going to squeeze the ring or the cushion or the ball together. Push the legs away into double leg stretch. Inhale, fold it back in. And then exhale, squeeze away again. So I want to add more inner thigh engagement. Now this will really add the challenges, especially if you have the ball or the circle, as you'll feel it will wobble. So push equal through both legs, squeeze together equally. As you add the squeeze in, notice how much harder this exercise is. You want as much squeeze as you can get. We're going to go for 4 more. Really curl up, drop the ribs down. Really squeeze together through the inner thighs. Last 2. I think I've added an extra one in. Last 1. And back in. If you do Pilates a lot, you know as Pilates teachers can't count. So knees come in chest and relax. And then we're going to go in for teaser next. This is one of my favourite ones. So with the teaser exercise, we're going to need to start with a nice flat back position. Legs come up, back to double tabletop. Float the arms overhead, take a nice breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to not throw the arms forwards, but we're going to press them down with a little bit of force, and then curl up all at the same time, rolling up to our sitting bones, and then we'll balance on our sitting bones. So again, breath in to prepare, breathe out, coming through to sitting bones. Then from here, you're going to stretch your arms and your legs into a parallel line, keeping the upper body nice and still and abs drawn in. Then bend the knees, and then as slow as you can, I want you to roll back down 1 vertebra at a time to the mat. That's a challenge. Arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, curl up. Reach. Shoulders are down. Bend the knees and roll back in. Now the whole time you do this, check you keep your shoulders pressing down. So here, as you press your arms down to curl up, press down through the shoulders. Get that stretch away. If you're new to this exercise, it does take a little bit of time getting used to how much momentum you need, because if you don't put enough momentum and you go really slow, it's hard to get up onto sitting bones. And if you put too much momentum in, you'll notice you'll fly forwards and your toes will tap the floor. So take your time as you get used to how much you need to balance with this exercise. I want chest lifted the whole way. We're going to go for 2 more. On the second one, we'll hold it up at the top. So 1 more normal one. Coming through, reach away. Should start to feel the burn. Slowly lower back down. Okay, we're gonna go up and hold. Reach. Now from here, lower the legs, lift the arms up, and then press them together. See how far you can move the legs without the lower back moving. So I don't want to be going up and down through my torso, it's just the arms and the legs. Try and straighten your legs as much as you can. That's a real challenge here, to keep the legs locked. Let's go for 2 more presses. Last one. And then fold in. Rest forwards from here. Okay, we're going to go into a little bit of extension work and some more mobility now. So if you've got a folded towel or a head cushion, bring that underneath your head and you'll lie down onto your tummy. So, reaching back through the legs, lying forwards. You want your forehead down onto your head cushion. Hands will go either side, so either side of the mat. So you're going to have your elbows pointing towards your waist. And then point the toes, stretch the legs away. Push the pubic bone down, lengthen through the lower back, feel the abdominals lifting, so belly button's pulling up to the spine. Shoulders are relaxed, but they're away from your ears. When you're ready, you're going to tuck the chin in, just feel a gentle stretch through the neck. It's not a very big movement. And then keeping the nose pointing down to the floor will float the forehead away from your cushion or your mat. And then lower back down. So we're just going to lift and lower with the head, but I want you to feel every time you lift up that you keep your nose pointing down to the mat. You feel length as though you're stretching the back of your neck. So imagine that the crown of your head is being pulled on a piece of string to the wall away from you. And then as you lift, I want you to feel the upper back working. So chest stays down to the mat. So if you have a little peek through your periphery, you should see that the chest isn't lifting as you lift your head. It's staying relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed here. Abdominals are lifting so you don't feel your lower back working to lift the head. So it's postural muscles that we're working on. Now we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to go up to our mini swan. So from here, we slowly lift the head. Then we peel 1 vertebra at a time to our middle back. I keep my lower ribs attached to the mat and as if they're pulling towards my hips, like I'm doing an abdo prep with my tummy. So my lower back is still long. And then I elongate, stretch the spine forwards. They roll all the way back down. So in your own time, you've got the pubic bone pushed down, bottom muscles are squeezing, we're tucking tailbone under, we peel 1 vertebra at a time up, and then slowly we lower 1 vertebra at a time, stretching out longer over the mat as we replace our spine down. So lifting from the crown of the head, lengthening, our eye line is still looking down, and then slowly releasing all the way. Now we'll go into full swan. So think of a swan neck having that beautiful curve. We float up through the forehead, 1 vertebrae at a time here. Then when you're ready, keep the elbows pushing down, shoulders pushing down, lift the chest, and slowly you'll feel that you have to stretch through your arms, your elbows will lift. Keep the shoulders pressed down, and then very slowly, 1 vertebrae at a time, we roll back down, we lengthen all the way through. As you do this exercise, I want you to make sure that you keep your neck long, so you don't lift your nose to point up to the ceiling. Your nose at the top position should be pointing forwards, and feel the crown of your head being lifted to the ceiling. And then slowly press down into the elbows, keep the curl in your back, and slowly roll back down. You should never feel that you're straining your lower back as you do this one. If you do, pull in through the tummy muscles a little bit more, squeeze the bottom, tuck the tailbone, and just go as high as you feel you can without the strain into your lower back. We need to do quite a bit of extension work. I always try and add some into Pilates, as a lot of our daily lives now is in a very forward flexed position. So be it that we're sat at a desk, or we're picking up children, or we're lifting things, or we're in the car, we tend to round ourselves into this forward flexed posture. So we put quite a bit of pressure through our spine and end up kind of stretching our ligaments through our mid-back so they stay in that rounded position. So extension work is really important in this day and age. Last one here, I'll go for one more. Get that lovely extension all the way through the spine. Feel like the crown of the head's being picked up to the ceiling. And then we'll roll all the way back down, one vertebrae at a time, before pushing back into a child's pose. So when you're ready, press your bottom back towards your heels. I take my knees nice and wide for this, so I can drop the chest down to the floor, rest down to my forehead, and reach the arms forwards and long. And just take a few breaths here. Try and relax your spine, let it go nice and heavy. And then coming all the way back through. And now we're going to go to a hands and knees position next. So wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Check that your feet are in alignment, they've not turned inwards. And when you're ready now, we'll go through cat stretch. So tuck the tailbone underneath you, round up into what I call angry cat. Imagine it spiking out all your imaginary fur. And then release, roll away into what I call happy cat. Let the tailbone go as high as you can towards the ceiling. Belly button drop to the floor, and then lift the chest. Keep the neck long, so you're holding an imaginary peach underneath your chin, but lifting up away from the floor. There's a hot candle here and it's burning you, so you're lifting away from the heat of the flame. Then tuck the tailbone back, round back through into angry cat, really lengthening every vertebrae, and then release. Roll the opposite way, lift the tailbone, lift the chest and the crown of the head, pull the shoulders away from the ears. One more time, each direction here. Last one away. And then now from here we're going to go into pigeon pose. So release back center. I'm now going to take one leg forwards up towards my wrist, turn the foot across my body as much as I can, slide the hips and the leg away, and then I'm going to drop down with my upper body. So I'm just going to rest as low as I can with my chest towards the floor. While you're here now, just rock your hips a little bit left and right. As you sway them left and right, you'll just feel a bit of a difference in the stretch of the hips rocked one way or the other way. Let the torso go heavy. Feel the chest relaxing towards the floor. And then come back through, and we'll change over to the opposite side now. So slide the knee up, turn the leg across the body, slide the other leg back, drop down with the upper body. You can add that rocking from left to right, but just focus for a moment on your breathing. And every time you breathe out, just see if you can go a little bit heavier. Let all the tension go, let your tummy muscles relax. You'll feel as you go heavier that you'll intensify the stretch a little bit here. Make the stretch a little bit more passive, so it's just your body weight leaning forwards, giving you that stretch. That little rock left and right just to change it up so you're not holding it in one place for too long. And then come all the way back through to a seated position. Okay, so in seated now, just going to go in for a little twist stretch. So you're going to reach one leg forwards, cross over your right knee, and then I'm going to bring my right elbow over my left knee. And now I'm just going to twist around and look over my shoulder as far as I can. The more stretch you'll get, the more you're lifted through the chest and you're leaning forwards with the upper body, and you've pulled the thigh into your chest. You want the rotation elements. You're pushing into your arms, twisting as far as you can, but at the same time as you pull the leg into your chest, you may get a little bit of a stretch into your glute onto this side here. And then we'll release, change to the other side. So ankle crossed over the knee, I've got my right ankle over my left knee, my left elbow hooked into the right knee. I'm going to look over my shoulder as far as I can, push into the arms, lean forwards and lift the chest, and then pull your knee towards you. Hold it here. And then release. Then bring both legs in, give them a nice little hug, lift the chest nice and tall, feel the length through the spine, and then relax. Well done.